I'm thinking about marina life and the differences between the marinas. And there's some marinas which offer very little, and some marinas offer quite a lot. There's some marinas that are very quiet, and there's some marinas which are quite noisy. And they're noisy because they're next to a train line. I mean, here's a train coming now, look. And here's the marina. So I'm sure the price is adjusted accordingly, but this marina has got a train line right behind it. Now, talking about moorings, there's permanent moorings where people are on the off towpath side, and some of those permanent moorings have got some form of facility in that, water, electricity and stuff like that. And there's well, that's about it really. And there's other moorings which have got very little. In fact, they're just somewhere to moor your boat, and you haven't got water or electricity. And there's a point like that where I'm going now at Stow Hill, and this is another example of just somewhere to park your boat. I don't know how much they cost, but they're permanent moorings where you can, but I understand that as well. There is a benefit to doing that. Yeah, you've got to get water somehow, and there's a water point not too far away up that way, and there's a water point down that way, and there's coal not too far away, and the coal boat comes by here, and I think he just delivers to moorings like this. Anyway, there's advantages to permanent moorings, there's advantages to marina moorings, and advantages to continuous cruising. I see benefits to them all, and I'm going to talk about those very shortly. Now, these are some other moorings that just have moorings, but of course there's a water point just there, and there's a fuel point at Rugby Boats at Stow Hill, which is where I'm going for a service, which is why I've come down this way, only to go north again at Braunston because I need to tie some loose ends up. But again, another example of moorings which are just permanent moorings with very few facilities. I'm at Brinklow Marina because I wanted to understand what it's like to live in a marina. So I'm going to have a chat with my mate Glenn, and we've wandered around this marina and seen a few boats, and it's quite nice. And I've missed some swans taking off, and I've been assured they're going to come back, so no doubt I'll miss them landing. But they've left behind this lot. And them. Anyway, it's nice here. So not everybody's got these things. No. Body and colour, and chocolate biscuits. treat me like a king. So you've just bought a boat. How long have you had it?
We took delivery of it on the 24th of November.
You live in a marina, and you bought this boat to live in a marina, and it's been designed to live in a marina.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, absolutely.
What's it like living in a marina?
I think the best way I can explain it, because we have the benefits of the hookup, water on tap, excuse the pun, which is on the stanchion on the pontoon outside there. It's very much like living on a house, in a house, forgive me. But you get the benefits of being on the water. It's a relatively small community. I would say 40% of the boats in the marina are long-term moorers, and the rest of the boats here are being stored over the winter, or people use this as a facility to store their boat over the long term. But so far, after 3 months, and again, we were told we must be mad coming here in the winter. It was a bit of a baptism of fire for us. We had to learn to live on the boat very quickly in the winter, which we've done. But it is very much like living in a house, Chris.
I agree. Buying a boat, I think for anyone who lives on a boat, the first winter is baptism of fire. Regardless whether you live in a marina, permanent mooring, or like me, continuous cruiser. And I'm sure our experiences of winter, chalk and cheese. I've no doubt about it. And what I've noticed straight away is you're in jeans. You wear jeans, and you look like a normal human being.
Yeah.
I look like the bin man, and that's no disrespect to bin man in any way, shape or form, but I'm like a ragamuffin 24/7, because life on the canal is totally different. So why did you choose to live in a marina straight off?
I think the primary reason is that my partner works 10 minutes away, and it was the convenience of that. I retired last year. I wanted a completely different sort of lifestyle in my retirement. I basically wanted to slow down. We used to live on a very busy main road, which brought lots of problems, noise, parking, etc., etc. And this is just complete chalk and cheese. I open up the back of the boat, and I'm surrounded by countryside and nature. That's my back garden. Yeah, and at the moment, after 3 months, and I do accept 3 months is not a long time, but through the winter, got absolutely no regrets. The way I explain it to people is that you have to learn to live on a boat. I've had experience of living on bigger ships in an earlier career.
It's not the same, because I've seen what you live on ships.
Yeah.
You have your bed space and some stuff underneath it.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah, but one of the things living on a boat, everything's got a place. Because if you don't live by that rule, a boat can become very untidy very quickly.
Of course it can.
And on bigger
look at mine.
Absolutely. And on bigger ships, that brings questions around health and safety, obviously.
Well, and just living with people.
Yeah. So I slipped into that pretty easily. My partner has done remarkably well, considering she's never been on a boat before, never been on a narrowboat, never experienced a narrowboat holiday. So this was all brand new to her. And I have to say, she's been fantastic. She really has. She never complains. She gets on with it. And we're learning to live on this boat.
And you have turning points, don't you? Crossing points.
Absolutely.
If I think two people could fit in your big galley, side by side. But crossing points. There'll be a crossing point just by the telly.
Yeah, I mean there is a pinch point on the boat, and that's because of the way that the boat was designed with that central bulkhead. The bathroom area, the walk through is almost an S shape. So what I do is when Karen's doing her stuff in the bathroom, I just stay out of the way.
Well,
I stay out of the way, and then
wouldn't you just anyway? There's not enough room for two people in there, is there?
No. But when I said about learning to live on a boat, that's what you learn. You know? So you stay out of the way. We can quite happily both work in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Not that I do a lot of that sort of stuff in the kitchen, but sometimes I do dip my hand in. But this main area, where we're sat now, is the centre of the boat, and we spend a lot of time here in this dinette. We spend a hell of a lot of time here. And again, because of the way the boat was designed, you can quite comfortably sit here and watch the TV that's mounted on that bulkhead. If you don't want to sit on the
sofa,
on the sofa,
the dog's there,
because the dog takes up the sofa, because she's the boss of the boat. Yeah, but I tried to design the boat to fit into a lifestyle where we would predominantly be living in the marina. But you could take this boat out tomorrow cruising.
The benefits of marina, as far as I'm concerned, and tell me if I'm wrong. You've got a car.
Yep.
You can park it up.
Yep.
You've got security because there's a gate.
Yep.
You can get your post delivered here for if you're a permanent marina type person.
Yep.
You get diesel. You can get pump out. You've got toilet facilities. You've got toilet facilities. And
showers over there.
Showers.
Yep.
Washing machine. Although you've got one on the boat, but you've got a washing machine over there. And there's just dog walking.
Yeah, acres of it out there. Yeah,
and no muddy towpaths.
So it's a tiny home that happens to float on water.
Yeah,
as far as I see it. But I absolutely understand and appreciate that somebody might look at the way we've chosen to live and suggest, well, why don't you just live in a house? The main reason for that was affordability. I now live in the countryside in a nice part of the world. I would never have been able to afford a house here.
And for mental well-being, there's something about the blue life, isn't there? I mean, we've just seen swans take off.
Yeah.
I've missed them getting on camera yet again.
Yeah.
And they take up like bomber command, flapping their wings and taking off, and their little feet are running around.
It's amazing. Amazing.
And then they land. I missed that too.
I can see that 4 or 5 times a day if I want to.
Great.
Yeah. I mean, last night we were stood on the end of the pontoon, and there were 22 swans there.
And all I want
waiting to be fed
is one picture on film watching a swan take off. Mate, you've got a lovely boat, I have to say, and lifestyle I get, and I can see myself living in a marina in time.
Yeah. I think, if I'm absolutely honest, would I want to spend my life cruising around as a permanent cruiser? At my age now, probably not. 20 years ago I could have done it, but not now. And I've been very honest with people about that. I admire people like yourself who spend time out on the network with all the challenges that it brings, especially in the winter. Let's be perfectly honest. In the winter, there's plenty of footage out on YouTube at the moment where boats have been frozen in.
Oh, no, third time frozen.
Absolutely.
From last night.
And what I take for granted under those circumstances is a real challenge. Water, for example.
Yeah.
If I need to fill the tank up, it takes me 30 seconds to walk out and hook up the hose and turn the tap on. If you're in the middle of nowhere with no water, you've got a problem.
You have, and sometimes it could take hours to find a water point.
Yeah. And to be fair, even if I wanted to do it, my partner would never sign up to that.
No, I get it.
She would never sign up to that,
But I can absolutely see the draw.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could argue that I get the best of both worlds, Chris. We're hankered down now in the winter here.
Yeah.
This is our permanent residence. But I know for a fact in May we will untie the boat and we'll venture off for a week somewhere.
Yeah.
We'll just potter off down the Oxford somewhere.
And people pay thousands for that.
Yeah.
You can wander down the road. Yeah. And I can come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to rain. I'll come back.
but what we have found is with family and friends, and it taps into what you said earlier about living on the blue, people are fascinated by it.
Yeah.
People are fascinated at the fact that you now live on a boat in a marina.
And then they come in here and they say, "Oh, this is quite nice. I like this.
Absolutely.
I didn't think a narrowboat could do this."
No. And let's be honest, narrowboats have changed over time.
Yeah.
The other thing that a lot of people have said, commented on, is that from their perspective, how brave we are in doing this. And unless I'm missing something, Chris, I struggle with that. I sold my house and I bought a boat. You know, maybe it's the way I live I see life. I don't know. I'm a risk taker. I don't know, but
I do see their point of view because. But what are they trying to suggest as brave? In that, houses go up in price. Boats at the moment are going up in price, but generally speaking, they lose value.
Yeah.
So is that what they consider brave? That you're throwing away that financial gain?
Yeah.
But then.
But I think as a country, as a nation, we've been seduced by this notion of home ownership, haven't we? If you go into continental Europe,
they rent.
The vast majority of people in you know, two major forces in the world, France and Germany, the majority of people rent. It's only the UK where we've got this absolute fascination with property owning. And, you know, I've been there, you've been there, you know, you've got a 25-year mortgage hanging around your neck and all the worry that can bring.
And I think, generally speaking, home ownership is great. I think rent in this country, I think there's a lot of people who are being fleeced by organisations up in, I don't know, ground rent and you know, the facilities that you have to pay for. They're you're pulling your pants down all the time. They're having your eyes out, and there's no regulation against them. And I feel sorry for those renters in that position.
No.
And you're paying a premium to buy your own home, literally buy it on a freehold instead of a leasehold.
Yeah.
And I think boat ownership is a cheaper way of having a freehold.
Yeah.
Albeit you're also on a leasehold because you're on a marina.
Yeah.
So it is very similar in lots of ways.
Yeah.
And I think mental well-being, I can't knock it.
No. You get your die-hard cruisers who, you know, never set foot in the marina for some reason. You get probably people like me who see the benefits of both. And there are people who probably live in this marina who never take the boat out.
I don't care.
Does it matter, really?
Not to me.
It doesn't make you any less a person, I don't think. But
who cares?
No.
It's about you as an individual and what matters and what fits to your lifestyle.
The one thing that obviously, and I think it's worth having the conversation about cost, you know, that there is a cost to living in a marina.
Yeah.
And I do think, and again, this has been a really steep learning curve for me. You know, I only started inquiring about the potential of living in a marina 18 months ago, and you know, I was having conversations here 18 months ago, well in advance of us actually turning up. I think there may be a misconception that buying a boat and putting in a marina as an option of living, but it comes at a cost, and I didn't appreciate potentially what that cost was. I think it's fair to say that living in a marina isn't cheap. But again, that depends on your personal circumstance, the amount of income coming into the boat.
So your council tax you have to pay here, is that on top of?
That's all included in the fee.
Okay, so all right, so the fee that you discussed earlier on.
Yeah.
Now I know you've got council tax on top of that.
Yeah.
Or that's included.
Yeah.
And you've still got your river licence to pay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a bit of a sting, to be fair. But there you go.
Well, the fact that here's CRT will probably say we have the option of going out there. The fact you choose not to is not our problem.
Yeah.
Which, you know, and there's pros and cons to that, and arguably I get your value, your river licence, I get value for that. Whereas you don't. But choices, isn't there?
Yeah. But again, we certainly didn't come into this with our eyes closed. We knew that we'd have to pay the best part of £1,000 to the CRT, and you know, 80% of the year, 75% of the year we'd be living in a marina.
And that's the way life is.
Life's all about choice, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, we chose to live on a boat, so we can't complain.
Yeah.
You know, when you wake up in the morning and it's -7 degrees and you know, the stanchions froze, which occasionally it has. It's our choice. Can't complain. So.
But you've got water.
Yeah.
And you've got electric.
Yeah.
And you've got an electric kettle, and you've got an air fryer, and you've got electric toaster, and you've got coffee making machine. I haven't got any of that.
Mm.
You've reinforced my thoughts of marina life.
Yeah. I think anybody who has spent time on a narrowboat out on the network and enjoys that lifestyle, moving into a marina environment, even if it was, you know, on an occasional basis, for me that could only be a plus. I don't see how anybody could see that as a negative. Is there such thing as a die-hard continual cruiser? Probably.
Yeah.
Who would balk at the idea of setting foot in a marina?
Absolutely.
And I'm sure they've got their reasons, and do you know what, Chris? I respect that, absolutely, and
absolutely.
Good luck to them.
Yeah.
But, you know, we, as I said, primarily because my partner works, we have family in this local area. This is so convenient for us. And it's our small space on the water. And after 3 months, which I accept is nothing, we both love it, and no regrets so far.
Great stuff. That was a great chat with Glenn, and in short, he reinforced my thought processes. But being a continuous cruiser, I think the biggest thing, if I had to pick one thing that makes life from a marina to continuous cruisers so much more enjoyable, the one thing is water. I could cope without a hookup, because actually, particularly in the summer, I've got solar and all that sort of stuff which keeps the boat full of electricity. In the winter time, it's great to have a hookup, but water, that's the key issue. You can shower every day. You can use the washing machine when you want to. You can wash up when you need to. All that stuff I don't do on a regular basis, because I need to conserve water, because I need to plan where my next water stoppage, where my next water point is. Essentially, having water on tap, to coin a phrase, just game changer. Absolute game changer. And everything else is, yeah, whatever. It's the water thing for me personally. The other advantages is that you have a community which is the same, and as long as you get on with your neighbour, that could be a good thing. Some marinas have clubhouses and restaurants and all that sort of stuff, which is very nice, and a welcome pastime, if you like, to meet people and all that sort of stuff. And that's great, and I'm sure you pay for that in the round with your mooring fees. Generally speaking, that's the benefits of a marina life. I think the benefits of a continuous cruiser life far, in my opinion, far outweigh everything else. I like the travelling around, I like meeting new people, I like doing the photography, because every day's a different day if you've moved, and it's fun. I like doing the locks and exploring new parts of the UK that I hadn't ever seen before. I think those parts of continuous cruising cannot be underestimated. And whilst you can go out in your marina, you turn left or you turn right, and you're going out for the weekend, well, you go out for a day and come back for a day, and the next time you go out, you go left, go out for a day, come back for a day. And if you've got a 2-week holiday, well, again, there's only so far you can go in 2 weeks, and then you're travelling over old ground within a couple of years, and that's a disadvantage. So there's lots of payoffs you need to do, but absolutely the one key thing for me living in a marina will be access to water. Great stuff. Anyway, if you got this far, thanks for watching, thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, give it a go, because I like to talk about stuff and film stuff and see stuff and show stuff and all that sort of stuff. I don't know. Anyway, until next time, ciao, Papa.